about you and me, it's about our kids.
And thank all of you.
We appreciate what you do. So, this certificate is awarded to Maggie Lawson for exemplifying the value of a Martin County education. Mandy, we're so very proud of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Approval of board minutes for February 10th of 2014, February 27th, 2014 board amendments. Approval of treasurer's orders in the amount of $192,126.94 and paid warrants in the amount of $343,817.61. Also, the approval of thrift vehicle and use of district property requests. Is there any discussion of the board on those items? If not, I need a motion to approve. Motion from anyone?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve, need a second.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is discussion and possible action on superintendent matters. Anything on the report?
There's just one report on the RTI position.
Okay. Is there any discussion on superintendent matters?
Was there a special needs position filled that's not on here?
Not that I'm aware of. Special needs?
Assistant?
An assistant? No, we've had some folks that
Last week?
filled a special
Yes,
needs
filled.
assistant. Not that I'm aware of. We may have a substitute because we've had an employee who did have an injury, I believe. Is that correct, Carolyn?
Yes.
And there may be a sub in that position.
Yes.
But we haven't hired anybody.
I need a motion to approve superintendent matters. I'll make a motion to approve superintendent matters. I need a second.
I'll second.
Motion second, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, discussion and possible action on reconvening the facilities planning committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I shared in the working session, the next step now that we have identified that we have a leak in the Martin County Middle School roof. It is at the point of 20 years that it does and it can be repaired or replaced, I should say. Mike Sparkman here has been out there, Larry James, both. But the next step is to reconvene the committee in order for a finding. We've gone through this before. In order for a finding to be made and added to the plan. Is that correct, Mike?
Correct.
Once that is done, we'll bring the results back from the committee of the finding and for the board's approval. Then we can move forward in the bidding process for, well, I'm sorry, not the bidding process because it's under $1 million.
Yes.
But we will go through a bidding process for approval. And it's probably looking around the summer. It'll be probably after the school.
Yeah, ideally, well, my plan, and we haven't talked about this in detail, would be to get the roof or the contractor on site as the kids get out for the summer, have the school empty, and the contractor can take over the job site during the summer. That's ideal.
And there are a number of options, right? You know, metal roof, you said, you know.
I see two options. One is metal and the other is shingles.
What's the difference in years?
In years, the metal could last 40, 45 years. Shingles, 20 to 25.
What's the difference
In price. Larry and I looked at that recently. And let's see if I brought my notes with me here. Right now, to do the shingles, I'm estimating that to be about $182,000. To do metal would be about twice that, if not 2.5 times. So it comes with a. Well, I would put it in the 3 to 350. Is that notes we shared?
Well, one company, the guy called and said it's going to be $600,000.
Yeah, there's two.
It's on KDB bids it.
There's two schools of thought on the metal, and right now, since you have shingles, the insulation is in the deck. It's below the deck. Now, if we did the metal roof prices vary depending upon where the insulation is. So, assuming the insulation's taken care of and it's below the roof deck, I think the metal would be less than 15. But Larry has received a price from a contractor that wants about $15 a foot. I think it would be less. So right now, the avenue we're looking at favorably are shingles. Of course, we take direction from the board on that. Shingles will be less expensive. And that's what's up.
Metal will last about twice as long.
Yes, I would, the metal, it's a very dependable system that lasts a long time. I believe that roof pitch right now is a 312 pitch up there, if not more. And that's right at the pitch that we can put metal on it. Anything less than 312, it's hard to get a warranty on a metal roof.
I'm just asking for the facility plan. No, probably nobody would, will you be at the facility meeting?
I'll
The-
happily be at the facility meeting. I just
Okay.
need to know the date that's been set.
Okay.
I'll be there.
I'll need a motion for reconvening the Facilities Planning Committee.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion, need a second?
I'll say.
Motion and second, all in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is discussion of possible action on hiring architectural services for new facility construction.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, as I shared via email and also in the working session, our next step in new facility construction is the hiring of an architect who will help in not only the creation of a design and a vision for our district that we can work towards, but also from site selection. And our next step after the architect will be a construction manager as well. So closely followed by the architect of putting out requests for proposals will be for the construction manager. The request for proposals can be done in two ways. The board can agree to identify 3 architect firms and solicit bids from those 3, or as in most cases, and best practice is to just put it in notification in the paper, and also at the same time you can solicit bids directly to architecture firms that the board would choose from. Agreed. That doesn't give license to individual board members to call up architect firms, of course, but if they call you, which they may have already, I mean, when people will hear about a building program in a school, you'll have construction managers, you'll have architects, you'll have builders who are calling up who are interested and just genuinely want to know how they can be considered. So there's nothing wrong with that. But please understand that through the request for proposal process, that when we put that out there for those proposals, that those bids will come in here just like any other sealed bid. They'll be open at a certain date, certain time. But I would recommend to the board that we go through the process as a best practice. If the board chooses to directly contact architect firms, they can do so, and or put the bid in the paper.
I like putting it in the paper. Job security from that. No, I just think it's the best.
Well,
way.
we'll put it in the local media paper and
Yeah.
probably even the
In
Lexington
the
Herald,
Lexington
because
paper,
you
yeah.
want a wide audience to know that we're all in on this thing. We want the best we can get. Present company accepted. We want the best we can get. Amen. All right.
So do you need an action on that?
Yes, I do, so that we can go forward and solicit for requests for proposals.
Just need approval or a motion to approve soliciting for architectural services.
I'll make a motion.
Have a motion, any second?
I'll second it.
Motion and second, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Discussion of possible action on staffing allocations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I shared in our working session and also in our email exchanges, the staffing allocations that I'm recommending are what you would consider a bare bones. They meet the minimum requirements for teacher-student ratio, and they also meet best practices for classified employees such as custodians based on square foot per building.
I don't have the other one to compare it to, so I don't feel comfortable voting on it. I don't know.
I think I sent those out. I'm not saying that you don't have them or haven't seen it, but I sent those out as attachments on the email, the O one as well. But I think the biggest change, and I think you've already pointed out one of them, Donetta, is why is the special education on here? Special education is based upon the IEPs, it's based upon need. And really, it's not a question of whether the board wants to do that or not. It's required when we have to have special education, whether it's a teacher or whether it's an assistant.